Once upon a time, the ship was destroyed and all the passengers on board drowned in the sea, except for one man. By the grace of God, he somehow survived and washed ashore in Desila, Thailand. When he regained consciousness and opened his eyes, he realized he was alone on the desolate island. Immediately, the man began praying to God, pleading for help. Days passed, but no help arrived. He spent his nights sleeping on the beach. The next day, he prayed to God again, but still no help came. Several days went by like this, and the man had completely given up, accepting the life of a castaway as his fate. He started gathering wood and grass to construct a shelter for himself, using items salvaged from the shipwreck. He survived by eating coconuts and fish from the island, living in his makeshift shelter. One day, he accidentally set his shelter on fire while cooking. Devastated by the destruction of his only refuge, he angrily looked up at the sky and complained to God, questioning why his prayers for help had gone unanswered. He had built a home there, and now it was gone. He felt that God was cruel. Disheartened, he continued to complain to God throughout the night until he eventually fell asleep on the beach. In the morning, he was awakened by a loud noise. Opening his eyes, he saw a ship had arrived. He couldn't believe his eyes, help had finally come. He boarded the ship, and it set sail. Once on board, the man asked the captain how they knew he was stranded on the deserted island. The captain replied that they had seen a distant signal fire coming from the island, which indicated that someone was there. The man insisted that he hadn't sent any signal fire. The captain explained that they had come in response to the fire signal. It was then that the man remembered his burning shelter. He realized that the fire signal the captain was referring to was his burning shelter. He understood that it was God's plan to rescue him from the deserted island by setting his shelter on fire. He realized that God's plan was greater than his own and began to thank God. If we examine our own lives, we will find that we often make plans, but things don't always go as we want them to. We try to make sense of our experiences with our limited understanding. When troubles arise, our faith wavers, our patience wears thin, and hope begins to fade. We start complaining to God. However, in such times, we should strive to overcome our difficulties by maintaining faith in God. In a world with over 7 billion people, God has a purpose and plan for each and every one of us. We should continue to make efforts while keeping faith in the Almighty without losing hope. Our efforts, combined with God's blessings, can help us overcome any trouble. Therefore, whenever you feel like your plans are failing and everything is going against your wishes, always remember that perhaps God has a different plan for you, and His plan is always bigger, bolder, and better than your own.